Hello, everyone, and welcome to Beyond the Edge. I'm your host, Brandy Deutsch.
Hi, I'm Dede DeMayo, your co-host. Light, love, and blessings.
So today we're having a really great show. Every show is great to me. I don't know why I even say that because every single show is amazing and fun and
You're consistent.
You're very consistent. Today we're going to be talking about applying the wisdom of essential oils. And I love talking about essential oils. I think I've used them forever. I don't know if there was ever a time I didn't use essential oils. I'm sure there was. But I always love knowing what's new. Is there a new thing going? What can we do that's different? Or what new thing can we do with essential oils? So I want to bring on our guest today. This is Katie Alves, and she's an international wellness, mindfulness, and essential educator. And she teaches classes in both English and Spanish to spread awareness, to educate on the importance of creating a chemical-free home and a life of physical and emotional empowerment. Welcome, Katie. We're so excited to have you today.
Welcome.
Thanks so much. So excited to be here.
So, Katie, can you tell us a little bit about your background and what made you decide to get into essential oils?
Absolutely. It was a perfect accident. It's kind of that classic in the right place at the right time, overhearing conversations and having a journey that was meant to lead right into it. So my kind of origin story is that ever since I was little, I was diagnosed with asthma. And it was something that I just kind of accepted as, yep, this is going to be my life using these certain inhalers and you'll be fine. And I was complacent with that for years and years. And it wasn't until my physical environment and physical living situation changed that I kind of had an eye-opening awareness of things could be different based on different lifestyle changes that I was making. And I ended up living in Madrid, Spain for about 7 years. And through kind of Mediterranean lifestyle, city life changes compared to here in the suburbs of Philadelphia, where I'm originally from and currently living in now, it was kind of something that I didn't really realize that stuff was getting better until I moved back here to the United States and realized, wait, there are different environmental things at play that have had an effect on my wellness and well-being. So it wasn't actually until I was unfortunately in a car accident that I was referred to a chiropractor who referred me to the use of essential oils. So all those little happy accidents that led to basically my questioning of everything that I've known to be true as far as how to take care of my asthma condition. And along with that, side by side, I was working as a medical interpreter. So I was helping Spanish-speaking families in hospitals to navigate the healthcare system and to be able to communicate with their doctors. And so it was this interesting give and take of both sides of my life kind of pulling at each other because there was a disconnect. And so it wasn't until I really started.
You might need to repeat.
Yes. Hey. Let's see if it's coming back. Uh-oh.
Can you hear me?
Katie, there you go. You're kind of cutting out a bit. Can you repeat maybe the last thing that you said?
Uh-oh. So kind of basically through my professional life, working as an interpreter in hospitals, as well as my own investigation for my own health and wellness, that I was kind of digging more into the natural side of things. It was kind of like those two things were tugging at each other. And it's what led me to really have a passion for that advocacy for different options or things that could be used together in the natural and medicinal world.
Awesome. Yeah, we talk about that a lot here on Beyond the Edge about how, there's these different systems at play and sometimes, we tend to lean more towards the natural side of things, health and wellness, energy medicine, and spirituality, because all those things can be very healing. And not to say anything negative about, allopathic medicine, but, because sometimes it's very helpful, but a lot of times there's just some systemic things that go on. And there's so many caring people in the industry, nurses and some doctors, and just amazing caregivers in the industry. But unfortunately, the system has become something of a monster
Yes,
that
absolutely.
eats money. I have to laugh because we've all been there. I think. So, Katie, tell us some more about. So first of all, what company are you with? There's so many different essential oil companies. What company are you with, and what made you decide to go with that company?
So actually, when I first heard about essential oils, which is to me ironic because they've been around for years and years and years, it's not just this brand new thing, right? I really took a deep dive into the different companies out there, because all of a sudden it was like it had this boom and you could get them from anywhere from Target to your health food stores and then to these places online. And I really do think that from the get-go, I had the sense to ask, okay, well, what are in these little bottles? It looks all neat and packaged, but where did it come from? Where was it sourced? How were the plants grown? Where in this world was it grown? So I kind of took it upon myself to ask around people I knew using different companies, as well as calling their customer service lines and kind of just inquiring like, hey, do you know where your peppermint is grown? And it was astounding to hear that not a lot of people could tell me, even direct me to the person that might know the answer to those questions. Or they would directly say that they would just outsource it to some other farms that they didn't know where they were located. And so I work with Young Living. They've been around for over 28 years, and they are founded in essential oils first, and then they branched out, putting it in different products that we can use today. And I actually had the pleasure of visiting one of their farms out in Mona, Utah, and got to see the very painstaking process that they go through and the testing that they do in-house before it ever reaches the third-party testers that really make sure that there's nothing that wasn't caught. But they really do test from the soil where they're going to plant and the seed that they plant in it. Everything is tested from start to finish, making sure that it's quality therapeutic grade oil that's getting to us, which is extremely important, especially nowadays that unfortunately some companies are adding fillers or even synthetic fragrances to kind of pass it off as essential oil. And it's a lot of different wording that can be fancy and look like you're picking the right thing up until the point that you actually look at the ingredients list. So yes, wow. I'm with Young Living, and I've been with them for 4 years, and I can't say enough good things about it, because it's also in the process of getting to know, doing business with them, how cared for I feel, which you go to any kind of product and it's not like I always feel cared for. It's like, okay, you purchased it. Thanks for your purchase, period.
Move on.
But really, they take an investment in educating us, as well as any person that's curious about what they do and how they do it.
Yeah, I really appreciate that about Young Living. I was into them many years ago, before my first son was born. That was 18 years ago, So I really appreciated the way that they were into education. And I think I still have some essential oil books that they had put out, or that they were affiliated with, that helped to really educate people about synthetics and why somebody might react to a synthetic fragrance versus something that's natural. It's incredible. I mean, we use eucalyptus every night, maybe not every night, almost every night, because we sometimes we get allergies and various little things that we use essential oils for, which is actually what I really want to get into with you. Is today what we're finding is people really want alternatives to allopathic medicines because of all the side effects, because of the cost involved. And I'm curious as to what you know about essential oils and how they can help with our mental emotion, our mental physical, but mostly the emotional health, especially with the anxiety happening a lot with the younger kids, and just overall how to relax, how to get ourselves in a frequency or a vibration of chill the F out.
You said it. Yes, absolutely. So what's really neat in just the way that I was able to come across this information and really dive in and learn more is the fact that I started where most people do start, which is with some sort of physical thing that they want support with, because that's usually when we start to pay attention, right? Is when we physically are having some sort of ailment, we're like, help, and I want help immediately. Whereas if you can pay attention kind of from the beginning and really not suppress emotions and kind of really come into your own checking in with yourself daily, that's when you can kind of make more progress quicker. And it's really digging into those emotional aspects of yourself and how you react to other things around you. What is very interesting is the fact that the sense of smell is attached to and actually triggers the part of our brain that houses emotions and our memories. So we can all relate to the sense of kind of going into someone's house and smelling cookies. And all of a sudden it takes you back to when you were younger, helping your mother or your grandmother make cookies for Christmas. And you actually get that feeling, that sensation, that relaxed, happy moment in the present day. And so what's great is the fact that we can utilize that association with the sense of smell and memories and our emotions, and we can use it and practice it with other mindfulness practices of meditation, yoga, Reiki, even things like acupuncture and reflexology. All of these things we can marry together to strengthen the certain ways that we can really care for ourselves emotionally. And so there are certain oils that I will either apply topically, which is kind of the powerhouse of getting things moving quickly, but also diffusing it so it's in the air and you're actually quite literally cutting the tension that can be in the air sometimes. And it's something that you can create as a habit, as well as have like this little toolbox full of oils that you can reach for at any given moment when you do have those mindful moments throughout your day that you check in with yourself. Feel like, wait, am I off in any way, whether it's vibrationally, physically, emotionally? And you know almost instinctively with intuition which oils to grab for. And if not, if you're still just learning from the beginning, you either have someone like myself who can kind of point you in that right direction, but I really love the trial and error. What do you feel in this moment? What oil blend name calls to you? And it's through that that you have these incredible breakthroughs when used consistently and with an open mind. I find that people, the more that they can kind of release a little bit and surrender to the process of, even if people say, oh, well, it's probably a placebo effect. I don't care. Trust that it's a placebo effect and go with it. And it's amazing how much of a transformation can happen when you're open to it. And it's through that I've been very blessed to see many of people on this journey come back and say, but do you know that these things really work? Like, I'm not just here looking pretty, and the oils aren't sitting there just to smell pretty. So it really can be very profound if you allow it to.
Well, and it's, I think too, you're referring to smell, which is the oldest sense that a human or any animal has, really, for that matter. It's also, a lot of the oils can be used internally for different things too. So, it goes beyond just being able to smell it. So, yeah.
That's right. I do remember taking them, putting some in capsules.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's to that point, the sense of smell is something that you can't turn off.
It's true. That's true. I mean, you can maybe go outside or, do something different, but in terms of like getting away from a particular smell, but you're right. That's like, on off. There's no on off switch. So let's talk about different oils in particular. What I noticed and what I really love about working with you, Katie, is that you have created some bundles. And through those bundles, like you have these kinds of, it's almost like a kit, right? So one of the things in your bio is that you help people create a chemical-free home. This is huge because we know that a lot of chemicals that we use in the household are connected to things like cancer and other types of illnesses that people otherwise wouldn't recognize. You yourself talked about having asthma and not knowing that some smells can trigger asthma. And so tell me what are you doing to help people create a chemical-free home?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So what I do, especially when I first meet someone, we have a call, we have a little chat, kind of figuring out the priority at which you would like to kind of dive in. And based on what you know already from what I told you about my journey, is that I was looking not only for the support of the essential oils, but also taking a look at what I've allowed into my environment, into my home. And we as women, many times, we're the gatekeepers. We're the ones that kind of do the shopping and figure out what products we want to bring into the house. And along with that, I just always encourage everyone to read the labels, just as we would with food. You know, you're reading the labels, figuring out, okay, is this something that is as pure as possible, and something that is going to be as natural as possible, and still obviously do the function that we need it to do. But what I found through my journey of what I call ditching and switching, so ditching anything that has any kind of synthetic fragrance, which if you look at any label of foaming hand soap, your classic all-purpose cleaners, things like that, even down to your shampoos, is looking at that ingredients list. And if you see the word fragrance, many times it doesn't even dictate what the fragrance is. If it's lavender, if it's lemon, it usually doesn't say specifics, because fragrance is considered a cluster ingredient that houses these trade secrets that mainstream companies can kind of get away with slapping a bunch of chemicals together to smell synthetically the way they want it to, and then they don't have to divulge what's in there. So what I took a look at, I kind of went cold turkey, because I used to be a big Yankee Candle fan, and I would have different room sprays and things. I was able to kind of take a step back and say, okay, for a week, I'm just going to go cold turkey. Anything that says fragrance, I'm not going to use it. And I was given little samples from my chiropractor to use to clean my house. And it was incredible that I didn't realize to that day that every time I cleaned my bathroom, I would have a ritual of stepping out halfway through because I physically couldn't be in the room anymore. It was bothering me, but it had become my norm over 30 some years. And you just don't question it because you think, that's my normal. So what is great is Young Living has concocted a blend of oils, and the blend is called Thieves. And so with that oil, because of its wonderful properties for getting rid of all the ick, they have turned it into a cleaning line. So anywhere from your all-purpose cleaner to your laundry soap, which is so incredible for people who might have what has been labeled as sensitive skin, but I would argue that it's just more that these harsh chemicals over time, they create that irritation. And so that's why a lot of times dermatologists will ask, well, did you change anything like your laundry soap or your body wash? And it's because it's due to these synthetic chemicals that are in there. So what I usually walk people through is you can go as slowly as, well, when I run out of my foaming hand soap that I already have, then I'll switch over to Young Living's and see what I like. And you can kind of just go replacing everything little by little, using up what you've already done. Or you can take the Katie method and go completely cold turkey and go, wait, this is so drastically better when I don't use these products that have synthetic chemicals in it, and switch over to the different cleaning products and personal care products that are made with the essential oils to do nothing but benefit you as you go through whatever activity you're using that item for.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting, to your point about being labeled things like having sensitive skin? Like, it's my fault that I'm reacting to harsh chemicals.
Right.
I mean, that makes me chuckle. And it's the same with some of the food we eat. You know, oh, you're eating McDonald's every week. So you and you've got all these problems. Oh, it must be you. Can't be what you're eating. I gotta laugh, right?
Yeah, it's definitely what we're using product wise and
I
cleaning
gotta laugh.
wise,
I
ingesting,
know.
smelling, wearing, you
So,
know,
Katie, so if somebody wants to reach out to you who has a question or, would like to just have a call with you, how can they reach you? How can they get in touch with you?
So a lot of what I do, I put on social media as far as just education, getting the word out there. So you can find me on Instagram. It's at Katie_Alves_, which you'll see on the screen. And I can also be reached through Facebook, and we can set up different calls and things. So all my information will be out there. And when we talked about the bundles, really what's great is Young Living doesn't, they no longer require you to buy a set bundle to get started. You can pick and choose just a couple of things here and there. But what I've done is I've actually created on a website, it's mywyl.com/Katie Alves. That is a place where I constantly am updating different bundles that I create because I find it's what people love to get started with. And it's just an easy button to say, hey, I want a little bit of everything, or I want to just focus on cleaning, or just focus on supplementation. And through that, it's just a neat way that you can kind of navigate and figure out what kind of goes together to start at one place. Because I am not here to overwhelm anyone, because it can get a little overwhelming if you're trying to do a little bit of everything. But at the same time, each person is different in terms of what they're able to incorporate and how quickly. So I kind of teach at whatever pace. I meet you where you are. And through that, we can kind of go through the journey together, because I'm also learning alongside of many people that I help, because each person is different in what they want to focus on. And so I just will provide the value of the knowledge that I have. And if I don't have an answer, I will definitely find it, because that is one of the things that I love, is the possibilities are really endless, because there's always some way that we can support ourselves, whether it's physically or emotionally, whether it's preventatively, or we're at a point that we kind of need some sort of support in the now and everywhere in between.
I really love your approach to essential oils and to just helping people in general, Katie, because it's refreshing to find someone who's willing to learn all they can, even if they don't know about something. Let me go find out because I'm not really sure, instead of, well, I don't know, or just referring to somebody else, who might have more knowledge, or which there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're in the industry, if you're the one, and you have this natural curiosity about how can this really help people, I think it's really great that you're willing to kind of grow alongside your clients. So I really appreciate that about you and how you work with people. And so do you have anything coming up, like any workshop or any kind of, online thing that you can tell people about or let people know that you've got going on?
Yes, absolutely. So I actually will be speaking at the end of the month in a summit that's talking all about becoming your better self in 2022. And it's going to be a lineup of about 9 speakers, and I'm one of them. It's going to be the 29th, 30th, and 31st. And it's just a kind of a magical thing that I just had pop up. Otherwise, I also have things that are coming in November and December for class schedules and everything that I will share, whether it's on my Instagram, or if you get in touch with me personally, I will give you my whole calendar. I really love diving into the collaboration with other people, because there's a beautiful overlap between what many of us do in service to other people that can be complemented with oils. And so when we talk about things like emotional health, and that always leads into mindfulness and mindset work, which is so important in any kind of business ownership, or whether you're running your own household or going to a 9 to 5, no matter what your situation, I really love helping people work through those things with the power of essential oils. And that kind of, for me, takes it to the next level of not only just helping the individual, but recognizing that within the community, whether it's online or in a physical one, we're working together to, as cheesy as it sounds, make the world a better place. Because really, when we start to learn how to not be as reactive in the moment, but we can actually take that moment, take a deep breath, and then respond instead of just be harsh and react. That's when we're making little incremental things in our day be better, and our interactions with each other are better. And it does take me back, whenever I talk about that, it takes me back to when I was working in the hospitals and working with these nurses that are overrun and, have so much going on. They knew when I was in the building to interpret. And sometimes people would walk by me and go, what do you have in your magical bag? What oil can I try right now? Because and I would ask them, how do you feel? And you would see kind of what they were up to. And I just love that ability to kind of just reach out and help how I can.
I love it. I love it. I love it. That's awesome. Well, we're really big on collaboration too. We've been talking about creating a retreat or creating some kind of immersion where we gather all the people, those who are willing, who've been on our show, to come and, take this little trip with us, this little retreat thing. So we'd love to have you there with us. I think you'd be a wonderful addition to our little group, our little immersion group that we're putting together. So I think the last thing I want to ask you about, are there any tips or any kind of like oil clues you could kind of give us to help with stress? Like what would you recommend for somebody who's dealing with a lot of stress or anxiety right now?
So that is an excellent question, because to me, matching oils with breathing exercises can change how you look at anything, right? When we feel stressed, a lot of times it's either because we're comparing our current moment to something negative that happened in the past, or it bridges into anxiety when we're living in the future, a future that we don't know even exists, because we're just worried about something that might occur, but usually doesn't. Our worst thoughts usually don't come to pass. But in the moment, if you can bring yourself back to center, that's where, picking up a bottle of oil and just sniffing it from the bottle, putting a drop in your hands and kind of putting it over your nose and mouth and closing your eyes and just taking that moment for yourself, take it as a gift. And that can serve as a reset. And I do this more often than not throughout my day, because a lot of times we will write off an entire day as trash. It didn't work. It was terrible. I've been a failure all day, just because something in the very start of our day went wrong. And then usually it would perpetuate and kind of go in that wrong direction because we put ourselves in that mindset. So I always just kind of beg to differ and say, you can restart your day at any moment. And with any oil, my personal favorite combination for this, there's actually a technique called AFT, Aroma Freedom Technique, where it combines frankincense, lavender, and a blend that's specific to Young Living called Stress Away. Yes, please. And all three of those equal parts put together. I like it in a roller, but sometimes you can just put those drops in your hands and really cup it over your nose and mouth. Take that moment, take 30 seconds even, and then just check in with yourself how you feel physically and emotionally. And you can breathe through any kind of anxiety or stress that you feel when you do it consistently. And you can keep repeating that throughout the day. You can do it 3 times right in a row. Sit with it as long as you would like to, and until you feel a little bit of lightness. It's not going to make everything disappear, but it can allow you to bring back to center and not live in those past or future moments.
Fantastic. That is awesome. That's a great tip, Katie. Thank you so much. And yes, let me just kind of switch gears a little bit, but we're talking about stress. So if you know somebody who's under a tremendous amount of stress and no amount of oils is going to make them feel better, send their name to our at Beyond the Edge TV, or you can text it to 805-500-3343, and we're going to send them light. We're going to send them blessings and prayers. We have our light worker warriors just on 24/7, sending people just some beautiful vibes. So Katie, I want to thank you so much for being on the show. We really enjoyed having you, and we enjoyed learning about some oils and what we can do to help our stress. And we'd love to have you on one of our retreats someday so that people can meet you in person and experience the oils for themselves.
Yes, thank you. Bye-bye.